Shalom, shalom, Israel's brothers Abba Yalom, brother Abba Yaran, coming back at you with another cold cut through the spirit of power, Yahweh Bashim Yahshua. To give all glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahshua. All right, it's going to be a quick cold cut. It's going into discipline, having temperance over your spirit, discipline in the flesh as we live in this carnal and lustful world these last days. All right, let me get one precept just real quick because discipline is a very important thing that as we've gone into, discipline is an all around thing. I mean, discipline covers everything, man. All right, and it's true, you need discipline as a soldier. All right, then go to the book of First John chapter 2 and 15. Just to kind of remind, brothers, what world we live in, that you gotta have discipline. You can't love this world. You can't love the riches. You can't love these different things, man. Right? This is First John chapter 2 and 15. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. And brother, put in perspective, the world is like a big party. And sometimes you may be enticed to join that party, but you know how parties end, they get broken up by the police. Right? And guess what? This party gonna be broken up by the 144,000 and the angels Yahweh shot. And those that didn't go to that party gonna be saved. Right? You can't indulge in this world. You can't indulge in the fun in this lifestyle. Right? And it says, if any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. Right, the pride of life. Right, brothers. Damn. Imagine they driving down Calabasas Boulevard with a damn drop top, man, and their damn hair is flying through the wind. That's the pride of life. You got sunglasses on, you got music in the background, and you think everything is just good. That's the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes. Those things are an illusion. It's not real. You can't love those things, man. Right? And it says, is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of the Most High abideth forever. If you're doing the will of the Lord, that's going to abide forever, man. And if you have that discipline and you have that mindset to say, you know what, I'm abstaining from the ways of the world for a greater thing, for a greater vision, then the Most High is going to accept you, man. All right, let me get one more precept real quick, and I'm going to pass. All right, this is John chapter 15. Because we got to really put ourselves in perspective, man. We're not from here. You're not supposed to enjoy this life. Or use the world, but not abuse the world, man. Don't matter how rich you are or how poor you are, you got to be able to forsake everything for Yahweh Shema Shah, and that is discipline. This is John chapter 15, verse 18. If the world hates you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world will love his own. But because you are not of the world, but I've chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. Man, the world hates you. You got to remind yourself, the world don't love you. You are a Hebrew Israelite, a black Hebrew Israelite, man. They hate you. You go out there on the highways and byways and you teach the so-called white man's the devil, and you tell Jake to stop having fun in this world. These people don't like you. So stop trying to join the world behind closed doors. Have that discipline and mindset as a soldier when people are looking at you and when people are not looking at you. How do you conduct yourself? Right? And it says, if you are of the world loves only because you are not of the world, but I've chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. Remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than the Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also. Wasn't Yahweh Shah tempting in Matthew 4 and 4? Didn't Satan say, I can give you the world? It just bow down to me. Don't you think we have to walk the life of Yahweh Shah? Don't you think Satan gave you the same gave you the same thing, gave you the same type of idea, gave you the same type of pride? He said, if you bow down to me, I'll give you the world. And a lot of brothers bow down to Satan, man, with fringes on, sisters with head wraps on. They bow down to Satan, and now they want to be part of this world. You got brothers not saying that's on off truth rapping, but then they trying to get the next record deal. You're trying to get the next record deal in the truth, and you stop going to camp because you got to focus on your career. That's not discipline, man. You gotta have temperance in your mind to understand what this race is about, and you can't let your foot turn off the course, man. Well, you got it.
That's right. And what the brother has said is absolutely biblical. At the end of the day, we have to speak as the oracle of the Most High. And not only that, but like we live in this world, we got to use this world, but we can't abuse it. The Most High said you got to be occupied. So I'm saying, I'm going to go bring out this precept real quick. Matthew chapter 6, verse 24. It reads, no man can serve two masters, for either you will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to one and despise the other. He cannot serve Yahweh and Mammon. So that's plain. You can't serve two masters. You're gonna basically approve one and deny the other one. And like we are in this wicked ass world. So I'm saying we get temptation. We live in this flesh that's corruptible. It's like we want to live in the spirit, but we're tempted in the flesh. But the Most High tempts no one. So I'm saying, so at the end of the day, we got to make sure that we put the Most High first. We got to be able to give up everything that we got. That's why Yahweh Shai said it's harder for a rich man to make it to the kingdom of heaven, right? Because you don't want to lose his position. If you got $1 billion in your account, 10 mansions, 10 cars, it's gonna be hard for you to walk away from that. But you
Yes.
got to be able to have that mindset. Hey, that's all vanity in the first place. Because we came in this world with nothing, and we will be leaving this world without anything, right? And reading on verse 25. Therefore, I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat, or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body what ye shall put on. Is not life more than meat and the body more than raiment? So we're not even worried. Like brothers, like it's good to be prudent. You got to have a desire to be successful and fulfill your goal. But ultimately, no one know what tomorrow is gonna bring. Like tomorrow is not promised to no one. Let's
Bluetooth
actually get that
disconnected.
in Proverbs real quick. Um, let's go to Proverbs chapter 27, because a lot of people they got dreams like so-called 2023 my new year resolution. They keep it for a week and then they go back to their old vomit. So I'm saying, so Proverbs chapter 27 verse 1, it say, boast not thyself of tomorrow, for thou knowest not what a day bring forth. So like no one know what's going to happen damn near 5 seconds from now. That's all of the Most High. The Most High already predestinated the end from the beginning. So all we got to do is just live on this narrow path and keep the commandments ultimately to be saved. Um, because a lot of people think, oh, I believe in the Most High and I'm good. No, faith without works is dead. And ultimately, what we got to do is be disciplined. That's what it comes down to, right? Brothers already know about the curses in Deuteronomy 28, right? They always go to Deuteronomy 28, verse 15. But this was the real issue. Let's go actually go there. Deuteronomy chapter 28, right? And verse 47. It say, because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. That's the problem right there. We're not serving the Most High Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shah with joyfulness and with gladness of heart. We got to be glad to want to read. We got to be glad to want to fast. We got to be glad to want to keep these commandments, because at the end of the road, there will be a reward. But he said, many are called, few are chosen, because a lot of brothers, they don't got the endurance. They don't have the faith. They don't. Let's go to that too, right? And this is in the book of Hebrews 11:1, because a lot of brothers they think things work on their damn schedule. No, the Most High don't deal with time, right? And ultimately we got to be patient in this thing and constantly endure, right? This is the book of Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1. It said, now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. I never saw Yahweh Shah. I never saw the kingdom, but I read about the promises. When you read Revelation, it tells you that the damn road will be gold. You're not gonna die. You're not gonna feel pain. You're not gonna cry, right? You're gonna live forever. And I want that, Lord willing. Actually, I don't even want that. I need that. You know what I'm saying? Because want is something that you desire. Need is something that's essential. You need food. You need clothes. You need raiment. All of these things is necessary. So I'm saying, and we need the kingdom. So I'm saying, and how to get the kingdom? Let's go to the book Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 4. It say, for into a malicious soul wisdom shall not enter, nor dwell in a body that's subject unto sin. Right? Verse 5 is the point. For the Holy Spirit of discipline will flee deceit and remove from thought that are without understanding, and will not abide when unrighteousness commit their end. Right? So ultimately, we got to be disciplined. We got to be disciplined in keeping the commandments. We got to be disciplined in exhortation. We got to be disciplined in righteousness. Like you all go back to being disciplined, right? And you want to do that with gladness and joyfulness of heart, right? You can't make it like, dang, I got to read, dang, I got to fast. No, it shouldn't be a burden. You're supposed to be have a desire to want to do that. because that's pleasing to the Most High. We're not supposed to be pleasing man, and that's a problem in Israel nowadays. A lot of people are man pleasers, and that's not going. No man could save you. No man could save you, right? Let me get this last precept in Galatians real quick, because a lot of people they do things to be seen by men, but behind closed door they're wicked as hell. We are wicked as hell, but the thing is, you got to have that fear of the Most High, because everybody fears on a different level. If you fear the Most High's judgment, you will not sin against Him, because we live in a time of grace. Everybody think they could just do what they want, and then the Most High is gonna have mercy. No, it doesn't work that way. We're deceiving ourselves. The book of Galatians, chapter 1, verse 10. For do I now pursue men or Yahweh? So do I now persuade men or Yahweh? No, you're supposed to persuade Yahweh. Or do I seek to please men? For Paul is asking a question like, are we supposed to persuade man or the Most High? No, the Most High made man. The Most High made all things. That's who we have to basically ultimately do the will of at the end of the day. For if I yet please man, I should not be a servant of a Mashiach Yahweh. And that's plain.
That's right. That's right, man. Like the brother said, that's plain, man. You serve a man and you're not serving God by singing God, then guess what? Now you going off. You're a man pleaser. You're not gonna survive long in this truth. This truth comes with hell, and you got to be able to accept that. This truth comes with utter hell. You know. So and we gotta have that discipline to remember the course and remember the goal at the end of the day. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 19. Now I start at verse 20. The young man saith unto him, all these things I have kept from my youth up. What lack I yet? Yahushua said unto him, if thou would be perfect, right? If thou will be perfect, not good, yeah, you good, right? You've been keeping the commandments from your youth up, cool. But didn't the Lord say in Deuteronomy 18 and 13, thou shalt be perfect with the Lord thy God? Isn't that a commandment? Isn't it Matthew 5 and 48? Be ye therefore perfect, even as my Father which is in heaven is perfect. Isn't that a commandment? So this Lord is telling him how to be perfect, what he's going to do. And let's see. And it says, if thou will be perfect, go and sell that thou hast and give to the poor, and thou shalt treasure in heaven and come and follow me. That's discipline at the end of the day. Because if you sell what you have, you remember what you can get in the kingdom of heaven. Right? But let's see what this man did. Verse 22. But when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. Right? He was mad as hell, crying probably at home. Like, I want to be perfect, but I don't want to give up my millions of dollars. I don't want to help my brothers. I want it all for me. Luke the 12th chapter. The man had great possessions and tried to put it in his a storehouse. The Lord took his soul that night, man, and gave it to another. This man had great possessions, but the Lord said, "Be perfect." Do you think this man gave up his stuff? Right? I'm gonna jump down to verse 28. So let's see what the great treasures are in heaven. And Yahweh said to him, verily I say to you, that you which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, you shall also sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. So the disciples are going to be judging 12 tribes of Israel. That didn't happen then and there. They were just men with fishing poles, right? And then they started following the Lord. They were just men that was just following the Lord and being his disciples, doing whatever the Lord bid them to do, teaching and waking up people. But the Lord said, you will be on thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Man. That's a mighty position. Don't you think they gave up everything for that? The Lord said you can be part of the 144,000. Why would you not give up everything for that? Your job, your position, your life, your family, your mother, your daughter, your son. You can be in the kingdom, man. Verse 29, and everyone that have forsaken houses or brethren or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or land. You can have land. What if you got 3 lands right now? You think this brother got land? And the Lord said you gotta sell that land. They don't mean nothing. Well, I was gonna build a house on that land. I was gonna move my family there.
All right.
It was next to a lake too. Damn, I was gonna get a boat. Hey, no, the Lord said you forsake lands. For my name's sake shall receive an 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life. But many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first. The Lord said you are inherit everlasting life and 100-fold. That one land that you got, now you got 100 lands. Right? That one son you got, now you got 100 sons and daughters. You got a hundred wives. You got 100 everything, man. 100 houses, man. The Lord said you can have these things, but do you think that rich man in that life that went away sorrowful is going to get that? Because he had great possessions, man. And you got to have that discipline to understand what this race really means. This is the prize what you're trying to get. I'm not trying to stay here in America. You don't want to be like the 600,000 men gathered together in the hardness of their hearts, man, as it says in Sirach 16 and 10, in the wilderness that didn't really believe, that kept murmuring against the Lord. that didn't really understand, and the Lord killed them all, man, because they died in the unbelief. Hebrews 3:10. So let's go to the book of First Corinthians 9:24. I'm gonna read this in the ESV,
Con,
right? This is NIV, Shlaki, right? You kind of go to a different translation, kind of put the perspective in a different point, right? This is First Corinthians 9:24 in the NIT. Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize. You gotta run in a way you're gonna get the prize. How does Usain Bolt run in a way that he gonna get the prize? Do you think he just wake up and run and just damn, oh, I got race, right? Do you think he just does that, or do you think Usain Bolt gets up every day, 5, 6 in the morning, doing his job, getting up, training, mechanisms, traveling the world, competing, and his trainer doing this? Nah, it's not your best time. Start over. It's the 100th lap. Do you want to be the best? Do you want this prize? 101. Go. And he starts and he beats his time. That's how you gotta be. You gotta be damn Usain Bolt in this truth, man. Right? That's your mindset. You have to be Usain Bolt in this truth. This is a prize that you're trying to win. Right? And it says everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. Goes into strict training. Imagine trying to join Esau's army. You think you just pick up an M14 rifle with the red dot and they just gonna send you over to Ukraine? No, you want to go through boot camp. You got to go through training. They say in the Navy when you about to graduate the Navy, they drop you on a 5 miles out on the coast of California. You got to swim back. You got to swim back. Yeah, they got somebody in the helicopter monitoring you, so you don't perish. But the sharks are still in the water. You may drown. You got drawn of fear. That's in Esau's army. How much more for the Lord, man? Right? And it says they do it to get a crown that will not last. But we do it to get a crown that will last forever. Yeah, they get it to they do all that to die when the Lord comes back. We do it so we can fight with the Lord and win. Right? And it says, therefore I do not run like someone running aimlessly. I do not fight like a boxer beating the air. No, I strike a blow to my body and make it my slave. You gotta make your body your slave. That's discipline. You have to make if I'm gonna win this race, I can't eat this type of food. I know I want a honey bun right now, but I can't eat that. Okay. So my trainer said I gotta drink 3 protein shakes a day. I don't want two. I don't even want that right now, but I gotta do it so I can be the best. You gotta put blows to your body, man, and put it under subjection. And it says, "Make it my slave, so that after I preach to others, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize." And that's the evil thing. For you to tell other people how to win the race that you're supposed to be running, and you get disqualified, and the person you taught how to win the race wins the race. That's that's heavy, man. But that can all happen if you don't have any discipline. And ultimately, if you believe how you gotta keep discipline in perfect peace. Let me get one more.
con,
It's Sirach 41. And these
con.
are the
Holy
scriptures after.
Spirit.
Yes, yeah, come
All
on.
one and they.
Yeah, you gotta have this mindset, man. And ultimately, having peace is the fruit of the spirit. It's Sirach chapter 41 and verse 14. My children, keep discipline in peace. For wisdom that is hid and a treasure that is not seen, what profit is in them both, man? So you gotta keep discipline in peace. You got to keep discipline sound. You got to keep discipline in the back of your mind. You got to understand that discipline is going to get me through with the faith that I have in Yahweh Shah. Because hey, you have that integrity. You believe. You keep these commandments. That goes into discipline, and ultimately that goes back to faith. What you got?
Con. And to let me back off of that, as that's, the topic is discipline, and that's one of the hardest things in this truth. Just in general life, you could set up your goals, right? And you got to be diligent in being disciplined to achieve what you want by the timeline you set up. So I'm saying you got to be disciplined. Okay, I'm gonna wake up every day at 5:50 a.m. Right? You gotta set your alarm. You gotta be disciplined to consistently do that. You might start off well 5 days in a row on point, and then the sixth day you then near wake up 10 o'clock. So I'm saying, so it's being consistent, being disciplined consistently. Let's go to the book of Job chapter 36, and let's read verse 10. It say, He openeth also their ears to discipline, and commanded that they return from iniquity. So you got to be disciplined to not go off. You got to be disciplined to not look at your sister and look at her as a fucking harlot. Ultimately, slacking for the language, but we got to be disciplined and control our flesh. We are in control. The Most High give no man license to sin. And the messed up part is that we know these precepts. It's more than knowing them. We have to apply them. Because if we're reading it and out there shaking the hand and not doing what they say, we look like hypocrites. We don't want to be like the. Let's go to that real quick. Let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 23, because ultimately you don't want to hear the Messiah say to you, "I never knew you." That means this old time you just being a reprobate. It was in vain.
You are outside.
Yeah, like that's one of the worst thing. I never knew you. Like imagine that after laboring for years, you think you're doing something so righteous, but the whole time you was deceiving yourself and being deceived. All right. Let's go to Matthew chapter 23 verse 2, saying the scribe and Pharisee sit in Moses' seat. All therefore whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do, but do not eat after their works, for they say and do not. So that's what we don't want to do. We don't want to say and then do not. Obviously, we live in this wicked world. A righteous man falleth 7 times, but you can't just fall and say, "Oh, woe is me, I'm wicked as hell," and then try to justify with precept. Our righteousness like filthy rag. Try to justify. No, like that doesn't matter. The Most I give no man license to sin, right? Actually, let's go that to that real quick in James chapter 1, right? Because at the end of the day, we know these things. We gotta apply. It's more than just knowing. Just like it tells you in James, faith without works is dead. But let's go to James chapter 1, verse verse 12. It say, "Blessed is the man that endured temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Most High had promised to them that love him." And we know that love is keeping the Most High's commandments, right? And it said it's not hard, right? Let's go to verse 13 is the point. It say, "Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of Yahweh. For Yahweh cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempted he any man." So the Most High doesn't tempt no one. The Most High is in control of the right hand side of righteousness and the left hand side of wickedness. These angels work for Mosai. Regardless if it's a wicked spirit, they actually in the third heaven, they're in a council to see if you really love the Mosai. Like it tells you that in the first Kings, right? But let's the point I wanted to get is verse 14 in James chapter 1, verse 14. It say, "But every man is tempted when he's drawn away from his own lust and enticed," right? So it's a process. So you get tempted after your own lust and enticed. So now the eye is the most wickedest thing ever created, according to Ecclesiastes, right? Um, so now we see something. Now you got to perceive it. Like, okay, is this wicked? Now you always got to have in the back of your mind, do the will of the Most High. But we also live in this carnal flesh where we get enticed and we got desires. Verse 15, it say, when lust had conceived. So now you get enticed, and now when you're given to that enticed, now the lust is conceived, and it bringeth forth sin. And it tells you that the wages of sin is death. And in the book of Romans, right, 6:23. But the point is, like, it's a process. You get enticed, then you give into your enticed, and then when the lust had conceived, it bringeth forth sin. And sin, when it's finished, it bring forth death. Right? So it's a process. You could damn near be going to the store after reading 5 chapters, and now you just go to the store to buy a bottle of water. Eve walk in the store damn near naked. You got to remember, hey, this is Satan, right? You have an option between that. The Most High is always going to make a way out. He promised that he's never going to let you bear more than what you could. So now you look at Eve, you got to perceive like, dang, I cannot look at my sister as a wife. You could. It's all about your perception. You could look at her like, dang, she don't even know that she's lost. She don't even know that she gonna get destroyed. She's lost. It's a dead bone. So rather than look at her as a damn sex object, you could look at her like, dang, I could show her that she's the daughter of Zion, right? Ultimately. Now let me get this last precept. In the book of First Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 20. It says, "For ye are bought with a price, therefore glorify Yahweh in your body and in your spirit, which are Yahweh's." So our body and our spirit belongs to the Most High. So we are just playing our role. He already gave us a lot from the third heaven, because according to Jeremiah chapter 1, it tells you that he knew us before it was in the womb. So it's already set up. So we got to be able to fight our temptation and desires are not given to our flesh, because those people that overcome those things, there are promises that are guaranteed for them to receive if they just endure to the end to be saved.
Right. And that's exactly right, man. Right, let me bring this out of the book of Sirach, chapter 19, I'm sorry, verse 22. The knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom, neither at any time the counsel of sin is prudent. There's a wickedness and the sins and abomination, and there's a fool wanting in wisdom. Right? There's a fool lacking in wisdom, right? Thinking he knows something when he really don't, because everything's just wisdom. Verse 24, he that has small understanding and fears the Most High is better than one that has much wisdom and transgress the laws of the Most High. Right, yeah. If you have a small understanding, all you do is Deuteronomy 28. But wisdom is just essentially application of the scriptures to your life. You apply what you know and you actually walk in them. That's wisdom. That shows you fear the Most High. Right? If you know 10,000 commandments and you're a doctor of the law, but you didn't go out and you buying harlots at night, right, with the damn trench coat and a damn hat, right? And you think nobody see you, man? That you're not justified more than that brother that just came to the truth yesterday and he's trying his hardest to keep the commandments, right? He's gonna be better. He's gonna be more justified than you that day, right? And it says, read it again. He that have small understanding and fear of the Most High is better than one that have much wisdom transgress the law of the Most High. Because ultimately, that man that fears the Most High has more discipline than that man that's been in this truth for 8 years and he's transgressing the laws of the Most High, thinking nobody see him for the last 8 years, not understanding the judgment of the Lord comes at any time. Let me get the book of Job 31:1. I have made a covenant with mine eyes, and why then shall I think upon a maid? I'm at war. I'm fighting Satan and 10,000 other demons for my life. And you think I got a time to look that way and look this way and then think about how big so and so rump is, man? I don't care. You about to die. You got a wild, a trick. You got a damn dart from Satan, as it says in Ephesians chapter 6, coming for your temple to finally end you in this truth, man. And the Lord sent that angel to destroy you, but you over here thinking about how you can set up the existence, man. You are. That's why the Lord will call you a fool, because you don't understand that you're a war. You don't understand this is not a playground. This is a battleground. What the hell is wrong with you? Satan will make you think it's a playground. You can just have fun in this life until you on your last breath, man. And Satan and his demons is just looking over you like this, and they kind of do that smirk. They look at you, got you, right? And the Lord just kind of and show you on that battleground. Like, damn, I was really here the whole time. I was deceived. The Lord can blind you, man. The Lord can actually blind you. You got to make a covenant with your eyes, man. Why? Because for what portion of God is there from above, and what inheritance of the Almighty from on high? Is not destruction to the wicked and a strange punishment to the workers of iniquity. He said it's not destruction to the wicked and a strange punishment to the workers of iniquity. That's why he made a covenant with his eyes, because Job feared the judgments of the Lord. That's the reasoning why he said that. He just literally gave you the reason on why I made a covenant with my eyes. He just said it's not destruction to the wicked and a strange punishment to the workers of iniquity. Only somebody that fears the Lord will even say that, right? That's only a person will fear the Lord will say that because they fear his judgments. Right? And it says, doeth not he see my ways and count all my steps? Every step you have taken, they got the little thing down on the watch, and you can kind of count your steps every single day. The Lord counting your steps every day since you took your first step, man. And until you take your last step in that damn bedroom, and you get the Lord take your soul from you, man. Or however you go out. Right? And it says, if I have walked with vanity, or if my foot have hasted to deceit, let me be weighed and even balanced at the about that Yahweh may know my integrity, man. Right? And you gotta have that integrity at the end of the day to say whether nobody's watching or looking. I know the angels all around me right now. There's angels all around you right now. The Most High is watching you right now, man. So if you fell down, get back up and now keep discipline and peace. Right? You had it as it said in 1 Corinthians 9 and 24 to 27 in the NIV. You have to enslave your body. What else do you have to enslave? Let me go to the book of Proverbs 27 and 3. Okay, yeah, you got to enslave your body, but what else do you have to enslave? You got to put things in slavery in this truth, man. I don't know if you know, but after David went to war, he had slaves, man. He had them in garrisons, locked up. Edomites locking up, man. Hamites. When King Solomon built the damn temple in First Kings chapter 10, building the house in First Kings 10th chapter, do you think he not had these other nations as slaves, man? Doing trade with Hiram, right? For wood from Tyre and Zidon, man. Had slaves, had 40,000 workers. But guess what? Didn't the Lord say he had 40 years of peace? So if you keep discipline and peace, you're gonna have slaves. You gotta put these demons in slavery, man. You gotta put yourself in slavery. You gotta deny yourself. Right? This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 27, 23 and 7. Sorry. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, saith he to thee, but his heart is not with thee. So for you to put your body in ultimate subjection, you have to put your mind in subjection. Because whatever your mind thinks, that's what you're gonna do. Whatever you're thinking, your body's gonna naturally to react to what you're thinking. And hey, and if you're thinking about lust and you think about sin and how to entertain that demon, you're going to go off, man. If you constantly meditating on it, you're going to go off, man. You have to protect your mind at all costs, man. Because if you protect your mind, you protect your body and your spirit. Let me go to the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 3. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. So yeah, we walk in the flesh, but our warfare is not carnal, spiritual. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh to the pulling down of strongholds. Strongholds are demons. When you go to war, the nation set up strongholds against you. When you go into the scriptures, they set up borders and a wall around about you, so you can't go out and eat and drink and to starve yourself to death. That stronghold has to be broken down for you to survive in that war. You have to break down these strongholds. What are your strongholds? Lust, lasciviousness, covetousness, idolatry, emulation, effeminacy, pride. These are all strongholds you got to break down. And for you to break down these strongholds, you have to recognize the stronghold and which one it is. Right? And it says, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of the Most High, and bringing into captivity every thought. You got to bring your thoughts into slavery to the obedience of Hamashiach. You have to bring your thoughts into slavery. You can't let your thoughts just wander. You gotta catch yourself, man. If you leave a slave idle in the book of Sirach, I believe the 31st chapter, he's gonna do whatever you want to do. You have to monitor your thoughts. Before you say something, you have to filter what you're gonna say. It's okay, is this gonna be holy? Is this gonna help my brothers to be holy? Before you do something, you gotta think about if you're gonna do it or not, if it's gonna be righteous and it can magnify the name of the Lord. You have to watch everything and make sure it's literally on point because you're trying to run this race and get this kingdom. That's called discipline. What you got?
Uh, and to sum up everything that brother just say, this is the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 16. Right? It say, this I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Right? So all we gotta do is exercise the fruits of the spirit. Because against the fruit of the spirit, if you read down in that chapter, it tells that there's no law. Verse 18 it say, but if ye be led of the spirit, ye are not under the law. The law was only put there for us to damn near stay righteous. Because you don't need to tell somebody, hey, don't kill somebody, don't sleep with your brother's wife. Like that should be in our conscience that we know it's wrong. But the Most High still have to give us laws because we just so wicked, man. But ultimately, we're not supposed to give into our flesh. They say, Galatians 5 and 16. This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary the one to another, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. So it's contrary, right? It's a constant battle. Every day it's a battle. Every day you got to fight that old man. Every day you got to fight temptation. Every day you got to remember, oh, I got to do the will of the Heavenly Father. It's a constant battle. You might win one day. No, okay, yes. No, another day. It starts over. Every day starts over. You might be on a roll consistently for a month, and then third and then on the second month it's like you went off, so it kind of erased everything. Because when you on fire in righteousness, you got this zeal, you want to read mighty, you want to pray mighty, you feel so good. But when you go off, you feel ashamed because you know what you did was contrary to the Most High, so now you don't even feel comfortable even praying, right? So but the thing is, if we walk in the spirit, it's going to be harder to fulfill the lust of the flesh, right? And these are some of the fruits of the spirit. When you jump down, right, to verse 22 in Galatians chapter 5, it says, but the fruit of the spirit is love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. So we constantly got to remind ourselves, this is what we got to do to stay on this narrow path of righteousness. If we do these things, we're not going to sin against the Most High. And if we don't sin at the Most High, if we don't sin against the Most High, He's always going to protect us. He's always going to look out for us. He's even going to let our enemies give us the desires of our heart in righteousness, right?
Tom, let me
And
get
let me,
this. Oh, you got it.
Slack, let
You
me
got
get
it.
this last precept, right? Because this is ultimately one of the problems too. Let's go to the book. Um, uh, right. I wanted to go to the book of First Timothy real quick, chapter 6, verse 10. It says, "For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows." So money, having money is not a sin. It's just you're coveting after. You say, "For the love of money is the root of all evil." So it's like you constantly design it because the way society is set up, everything come with a dollar sign. If you want food, money, clothes, everything is money, 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 money. So it's like they put that spirit on you to always desire it to the point that you forgot that you got to desire the Most High first because the most. Let's actually stand.
Most High
So
gives you your wealth, man.
Khan, let's get this last precept in First Timothy chapter 6, verse 17. It say, "Charge them that are rich in this world, that they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertainty riches." Because now, let's say you damn near hit the lotto, right? And then tomorrow the money is no longer in existence. Like the same money you desire, the Most High basically say, "Hey, that because we already know the money's gonna fail. There's a bubble. America is about to be destroyed. Like all of this thing is destroyed. It will be destroyed. So we don't want to desire these things and be occupied in these things, lusting after these things. And once you get it, is vanity. Right? Let's read on. It say, "Nor trust in uncertain riches, but in the living God, which giveth us richly and all things to enjoy." So the Most High will give you riches. You just got to keep His will. Remember, you got to have the fruits of the Spirit. You got to have temperance. You got to be able to rule over your spirit, right? You got to have joyfulness. You got to go through tribulation, right? These things are already written for our learning. So there's no excuses. We know what we got to do. We can't just read about it. We got to remember. We got to execute, right? If
Con.
you got something. Meanwhile, let's get this priest. You got it? Come on.
Right in the book of Proverbs, the Lord said riches are not in the profit, man. That's not, I mean, it's not in the profit. You can't do anything with those riches at the end of the day. Let me see if I can find this in Proverbs real quick. All right, that's cool. I'll find it later. Right, but at the end of the day, man, you gotta be patient. Let me get a few more. You gotta be patient. This is Sirach chapter 1. I'm gonna start at verse 22. Yeah, it says 23. A patient man will bear for a time, and afterward joy shall spring up unto him. So you gotta be patient. Ultimately, when you're having that discipline, it comes with patience. You have to when you get disciplines, you have to have patience, bro. That tells you that Romans chapter 5 and 3. Let me get that real quick. Right? Because if you're bearing for a time, this is for a time. America's only for a time. The Lord said in Job chapter 14, verse 5, He has set his bounds that he cannot pass. Once that 0000 mark hits America, they got these devils got a doomsday clock. We literally at 11:59 with a couple seconds to go, and you over here losing discipline, man. It's not like you in the time of Ezra, man. It's not like you in the time of Nehemiah. You're literally right here to the kingdom, man. All of our fathers died for a kingdom that you can see and inherit, man. And they never seen it. You just gotta have patience, man. You're barren for a time, and afterwards joy shall spring up unto him. There's Romans chapter 5 and verse 3. And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also. The reason why you gotta glory in tribulations is what? Knowing that tribulation worketh patience. Going through hell tries your patience. It sees, okay, how patient is this individual going through fire, going through hell? How is this person just gonna give up and just go back to doing what they want to do? That means you don't have any patience, you don't have any discipline. But what and patience experience because you're gonna fall. You're gonna fall ultimately. That's gonna happen. But the reason why you gain experience is because you go through the same demon over and over and over and over again. You just don't go through, you fight that demon and then you're done. You fight that demon so much that now you know how to get around that demon. You know that demon just as much as it knows you. So you know the ways it tries to get you to fall down. See, the reason why we don't have discipline and we fall is because one, we're not patient, but we don't study, we don't know what demon is on us, and then the demon that we know that's on us, we don't know how to get around that demon. It knows you better than you know better than you know you. It knows your tendencies. You don't know its tendencies. You don't know your tendencies, right? And it says, and experience hope. And once you have that experience on how to submit your body, on how to say no to your body, on how to get around the wiles of the devil, now you have that experience. It gains hope. Now you have hope that you can actually get this kingdom because the things you were dealing with now you cut off. And that's ultimately what it's about, is just cutting off things for Yahweh Shema Shah to remain temperate and remembering, man. Let me get one more. Because at the end of the day, man, if you're patient, you're going to constantly remember on what the Lord told you. You're going to constantly remember his words. Let me get two more. I'm going to pass it. Final precepts, right? This is 2 Peter chapter 1, and I'm going to start at verse 12. Wherefore I would not be negligent to put you always in remembrance of these things. So we never gonna be negligent or neglect to put these things that we learned through the spirit of Yahweh shot through his servants from aforetime, right? To let ourselves know and for us to remember, and also for to teach others as well to remember, right? Even though they what verse let me start. Yep. And it says, though you know them. So even though you know them, what? And be established in the present truth. Yeah, I think it's me as long as I am in this tabernacle to stir you up by putting you in remembrance. Yeah, you already know these things. You know you need discipline. I'm not telling you, we're not telling you something you already don't know, man. That we already don't know. Even though we teaching ourselves. But as long as we in this body, as long as we in this carnal body, we always gonna put ourselves in remembrance. We always gonna remember day one and why we decided to keep going in this truth after we heard about it. Because you had an option to keep going in this truth or not. You had an option to put it down and go out with your friends or not, man. But you say, "No, I'm gonna keep the Sabbath day." Yeah, I'm excited to keep the Sabbath day, man. And you made that option. And then we gotta always remember why we made that option. You got to always exhort brothers to continue doing this thing and remember why they're here in the first place. We get Deuteronomy chapter 8. Because if you don't remember, what's going to happen? Right? We got to put you in remember of the Most High's judgments. This is Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse 19. And it shall be, if thou do at all forget the Lord thy God and walk after other gods and serve them, right? Walking after yourself. Because you can make yourself a God. You can make yourself an idol. So if you start walking after your own lusts, right? And serve them and worship them, I testify against you this day that you shall surely perish. And as the nations the Lord destroys before your face, so shall you perish, because you are not obedient unto the voice of the Lord your God. The Lord said you will surely and verily die, and the Lord is not a man that he should lie. The Lord will kill you, man. Keep praying with the Lord and keep forgetting why you in this thing, not having patience, not having discipline, not gaining experience and wisdom. You're gonna die. You're not gonna be able to inherit that land that the Most High promised from us from the beginning.
That's right. That's right. And to add to what the brother just said, this is the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, Salaki, chapter 10, verse 31. It say, it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. So it's a fearful thing because the Most High's judgment is always going to be just and righteous. So when you get judged, sometimes brothers be catching hell. Like, dang, I'm going through the furnace. Dang, like what's going? No, it's not the most. The Most High is not freaking putting you through tribulation. The Most High might be judging you for a sin that you committed damn 2 weeks ago. So I'm saying the Most High judgment is like a ring. Tells you that in Job, right? But let's get this precept in Romans chapter 2, right? Romans chapter 2, verse 7. To add to what the brother was saying about patience, it said, to them who by patient continuance in well doing seek for glory and honor and immortality, eternal life. So you got to be patient in well doing. You might, while you're going on this narrow path of righteousness, things is going to try to push you off. You're going to get tempted. You're going to go through hell, tribulation, suffering, anguish. Right? People going to disappoint you. You're going to have your it's a just balance in these things. It told you that in the book of Proverbs, chapter 11, verse 1. A false balance is an abomination to the Most High. So you have to go through hell. It's not going to always be sunny outside. Eventually, the rain is going to come down. That's poor, right? So you got to be patient and continuous in well doing, seeking for glory, because those things that are promised, the Most High shall not lie. Let's actually get that in the book of Isaiah real quick. Let me get the book of Isaiah chapter 55 real quick. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 55 verse 11, and it reads, so shall my words be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the things whereto I sent it. So the most I said, his word is not going to come back void. That's plain. Like, there's no way around that. So if you say, hey, keep my commandments, and you're going to get everlasting. Matthew chapter 24, verse 13, it say, he that endure to the end shall be saved. So that's a promise. You're going to be saved, but you got to be continuance and patient and well doing to be saved so you can inherit those promises. We know what Romans chapter 9, verse 4 say. It tells you all of those things that's our promise to those who patiently wait, right? Let me get this last precept. Um, and second Corinthians chapter 7, verse 10. It say, for godly sorrow worketh repentance to salvation, and not to be repented of. But the sorrows of the world worketh death. So sometimes a brother might lose their car, they lose their woman, they lose their house, our family member, and they just vex for months and years, and it just change their spirit. Now they feel they don't go working no more. They just feel like the world is over. No, you can't have worldly sorrow. You gotta have godly sorrow because the work of repentance. You gotta feel bad when you go off. You gotta be like, oh my gosh, I gotta be the wickedest person in Israel. You gotta constantly remind yourself that we all are wicked. And we're not supposed to stay in a wicked mentality. We got to remember we live in this flesh, and this flesh got desires. It wars against the spirit, right? So it's a constant battle. But you got to remember, before you do something, you got to think about it. Now, when you think about it, okay, is it righteous or is it wicked? Is it doing the will of the Most High, or I'm doing the will of Satan? There's only two things: life or death. And the Most High never gave no man no license to sin. He give you the will person, not saying you got free will, but it's already predestinated. But he give you the choice, right? Actually, let's get that real quick so I could connect this, right? This is the book, right, of Deuteronomy, right? Let's get that, because a lot of people think they can just do whatever they want, and then there's no judgment for it, right? Let's go back to Deuteronomy chapter 28, because this is we all know what they're going into, right? It say Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee that the Lord thy God will set thee in high above all nations of the earth. So the Most High gave us an option: do my commandments, and I'm gonna bless you. You forsake my commandments, and I'm gonna curse you. Right? So technically, we do have a option to do righteous, right? But the problem is we don't realize that ultimately we're going to be judged for everything, because the Most High said his word is not going to come back void. Let's actually get that this other precept to connect everything, and second Esdras, right? Let's go to chapter, to find this precept, chapter 7, verse 56. It say, for while we live and commit iniquity, we consider not that we should begin to suffer for it after death. So while we're living and we commit iniquity, we don't even know that after we die, we're going to be judged, right? Because sin is wicked, and that's contrary to the Most High. But we commit sin because it's pleasure. Sin, that's all sin is. Sin is just pleasure. And whatever feel good we do, but it's contrary to the Most High. We got to be able to suffer in this life, right? Let me get this last precept, and then brothers got it, right? Let's go to the book, right? Let's go to the book, right? Ecclesiastes chapter 12. Let's just get to the bottom of this thing, right? We all know Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. It said, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandment, for this is the whole duty of man. Now, verse 14 is the whole point. For the Most High shall bring every word into judgment, and with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil, right? So like when you go off in secret, only deceiving yourself, because when you in public, you're putting on a show for men, and that's being a hypocrite. And ultimately, you be judged. Even myself, as I'm reading these things, I'm also teaching myself, because you can't. Let's go to the book of Romans, right? Romans chapter 2. Because this thing is serious. Everything we say will be accountable for, right? And not just say, we have to do it so we could be judged in righteousness, right? Because the Most High is the ultimate judge, and it will judge you based on what you do, right? Let's get this precept in Romans, right? This is the book of Romans. Let's go there real quick. It's the book of Romans, chapter 2, and verse 19, and say, and art confident that thou thyself art a guide of the blind, a light of them which are in darkness. Verse 20, an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of babes, which has the form of knowledge and of the truth in the law. So the Most I say, you confident going out there teaching people, got to keep the commandments, do this, do that, but you're not doing it yourself. So you like the judgment for you even be worse, right? If you don't got a precept, I got this last one, right? Let's get this last precept, and you got it, King. Right? This is the book, right? A Second Peter, chapter 2, verse 21. It reads, for it had been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness than after they have known it to turn from the holy commandments delivered unto them. So the Most High is saying it's better for you just be the two-thirds in the world than to come in this thing and just get 10 times wickeder, right? This is not Christianity, right? Once you are Hebrew Israelite, it's not a religion you could conform to. You was born a Jew. You cannot say, you know what, I'm not part of that Israelite thing no more. No, it's like you saying, I don't want to be saved. You're basically choosing to be destroyed. Brother got it.
Huh. And the brother not lying, man. Let me get this in Ecclesiastes chapter 8 and verse 5. Whoso keepeth the commandment shall feel no evil thing. And a wise man's heart discerneth perfect time and judgment. So going into wisdom and going into having that discipline, your mind has to be wise. And that's gonna compel you to keep these commandments. And guess what? You're not gonna feel any evil thing. You're gonna have a hedge made about you, man. As it says in Psalms chapter 91. Do you not want that hedge made around about you? All right, let me go to Psalms 91. It's one of my favorite verses in the scriptures. Right, and it says, He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. Surely He hath delivered me from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. Man. You want the Most High to be your refuge. You want to have so much confidence in the Lord that He's going to protect you because you know you've been doing what He asked you to do. A lot of people don't have confidence in the Most High because they know inside they haven't been doing what He asked them to do. So they don't feel confident in the Lord. They know the Lord. They know the Lord not playing games. They know the Lord would jam you up real quick. But if the Lord, if you have that trust and confidence in the Lord, as it says in Psalms chapter 37:3, you know, hey, guess what? You're going to be protected by the Most High. Because He's going to only protect you if you believe in Him. But you can only believe in Him if you have that trust that you know He's been keeping His commandments. Discipline, right? The Most High will make your hope and your faith wither because you've been going off. And He's going to take that hope from you, man. And now you're forced not to believe in the Most High. And then He's not going to protect you. All right? And it says, He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings, verse 4,